Welcome to the Leverage Show. This is Brett Ingram. Email marketing is a really important part of any online business. And whether your business is online or even mostly offline, if you have any customers, any prospects that are looking you up online, coming to your website, if you're not using email marketing, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. It's a completely untapped resource for you. But chances are, even if you are doing email marketing, there may be some things that you could be doing better, or maybe some simple mistakes that you're making that are actually really hurting your results and your progress. So if you're not familiar with the idea, basically the first thing is you want a tool called an autoresponder. You want an email marketing management tool that allows you to capture prospects' email addresses and then send them messages on an automated setup. So traditional email works like this. If Joe sends you a question and says, hey, I was interested in your product, you need to sit there and go and respond to Joe and send him out an email. Now, if you want to market to him day after day, your only option for that in that particular format is to keep typing out emails and sending them. Now, that's fine if Joe is your only prospect, but the problem becomes when you get a lot of prospects, it's very difficult to send them all custom emails all the time. Plus, let's say that you create a group of email templates that are going to market your product. You're going to provide a service, you're going to provide some information, and then you're going to sort of introduce your product as a solution for that. Well, that's a great idea. The problem is, again, if you're emailing those out one at a time and there's a sequence of them, now not only do you have to manually mail each one, but you also have to remember which stage of the process each prospect is in, because different people are going to sign up or be contacted by you at different intervals. This creates a huge problem. That's what an autoresponder or an email marketing and management service does for you, because what they allow you to do is capture people's email addresses. You can set up emails that go out at a predefined time interval. So the first day someone signs up, they get this message. The next day they get this message. The day after they get that message. And each person will get the same sequence of emails based on when they've signed up. So it manages all that for you automatically. The other thing is it manages, unsubscribes and all these other things as well. So you got to be using a tool like that if you aren't already. Constant Contact is a popular one for business owners, but in the internet marketing niche or world, Aweber and GetResponse. GetResponse is really the best one because it gives you the maximum amount of features, great deliverability, and it's actually relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other services. At any rate, you want to be using an autoresponder service. You publish a web form on your website, and then when people sign up, you want to be sending them emails. Now, hopefully you're already at that point. If you are, the good news is, you're doing one step right. If you aren't, the bad news is you're leaving a lot on the table. The good news is it's very easy to fix and you can get started doing that right away. So let's assume now we're doing our email marketing, and the question becomes, how do you do this? I see a lot of mistakes that people make in email marketing because they don't understand exactly what they're trying to accomplish with the market and the dynamics of how that works. Okay, so the first thing is you want to understand your customer or your prospect as well as you possibly can. The better demographics, the better understanding you have, and I talked in another video about creating a customer avatar, where you really have a clear understanding of not only who your customer is demographically, but also what their fears are, what their dreams are, what their goals are, all of those kinds of things, because the more detailed information you have, the easier it is to write to them successfully, tap into what's most important to them, and make a difference for them, and also at the same time, obviously, make more sales for you. So let's assume again that we've got sort of an idea of at least who our target customer is. Now, the next thing that you want to do is when you're writing your emails, the two main mistakes that I see are, number one, writing to the masses. Let's say you have an email list of 10,000 or even 100,000 prospects on there. From your perspective, you're thinking, well, hey, you guys, and what about this? And wait until all of you see this. But that's the wrong approach from email marketing, because the fact is you're only writing to one person. You're just doing it 10,000 times. Think of it this way. Instead of standing up on stage in front of an audience of 10,000 people, you are having 10,000 individual one-on-one conversations. Now, think about it for a second. Does your tone differ when you're presenting something versus talking to a friend one-on-one? Does your delivery change? Does the language that you use change? All of that stuff changes. The key to email marketing and being successful with it is to write to one person. You address them as one person, because that one person is going to be reading that email. They're not reading it in a room with 20 other people. They're reading it by themselves. So if you're addressing them like they're in a group, it automatically becomes less personal. It automatically becomes less engaging, and it's automatically easier for them to sort of tune you out and ignore your messages. So write to one person at a time. It's best to actually imagine in your mind your avatar or a person that's on your list while you're doing the writing of the email, because it's going to give you sort of that personal flavor. It's going to give you sort of that personal angle. Now, here's another big mistake that I see repeated a lot. Again, when you're in conversation, you talk in a certain way. Yet, for whatever reason, when people start writing, they get all formal. They get stuffy, they get tight, they get formal. And they start writing it like a business letter. Dear so-and-so, I am writing to inform you. That kind of formal delivery will never work in email. You want to talk as though you're talking to a friend over a cup of coffee, or in a bar, or at a restaurant, or even on the street when you run into somebody, or you're talking to somebody on the phone, and you want to write using the same language, the same sort of tonality that you would, and the same level of comfort and familiarity. People want to feel like they're connected to you. When you write in a formal way, it feels very impersonal, it feels very cold, and people sort of, again, they tune that out. They don't connect with it. You don't bring them in. You need to bring them in and make them feel like you're sitting across from them having a simple conversation and having a one-on-one conversation. And so what that means in terms of your writing style is think as though you were speaking this out loud to a friend, and write in the same way. You don't need proper punctuation. You don't need complete sentences with verbs and subjects and all these other things. You can write in little snippets, phrases. You can use sort of the same language and slang expressions that you may use with your friends. Now, obviously, you need to judge your market, okay? If you're in the dating niche or you're selling some sort of adult product and you want to use, 4-letter words and swears and stuff like that, you can certainly do that if it's appropriate for what you're doing. However, if your audience is a knitting club or something like that, you probably want to avoid that. So take your audience into mind at the same time while you're doing the writing, but you can use slang, like words like gotta instead of going to or got to or have to. You can use sort of shortened words and expressions and phrases that people use in their everyday language when they're talking to each other. It's a very effective way to make it feel personal. Short, punchy phrases, and in general, you want to avoid writing in long paragraphs. Even if you want to write a long email. I've heard a lot of back and forth about the proper length of an email and all this. All that stuff is nonsense. All that matters is what your target audience wants to hear from you. If you write a long email, you write a short email, you can get results from both. Okay, the difference is it's how you write it so it engages them. You want to engage, you want to be personal, you want to be warm, you want to be friendly, and you want to make that connection in every single email, because what happens is, if you think of it from your prospect's point of view, they have an email inbox full of garbage, full of offers and junk and stuff that they don't want to hear about and hear from. They gave their email address one time for something, they got it, they have no interest in hearing from this company or this person again, yet they keep getting more and more and more. If your emails are engaging, you're going to train that prospect to open your emails. They're going to want to hear what you have to say. You know, it's friendly, it's warm. They always get sort of a laugh, or they get a good feeling about opening your email, so they don't even mind if you're pitching them. So you want to basically write in that style and keep the sentences short. Don't write paragraphs, 1-2 sentences, then a line break, and then write some more. And you want to try to write in a way that's consistent. So whether you email every day, people say, well, how often should I email? Every day is fine. I email my list every day, sometimes twice a day, but definitely every day. That, again, it encourages them to understand and to look for your emails. And then if you have something you want them to do, an action you want them to take, it's very important that you explicitly put that in the email. Click this link now. Watch this video now. Go to this page now, and then put the link there. It makes it very specific, and more people will take that action if you lead them exactly to what you want them to do. So those are some really important tips about how to do effective email marketing. You want to email often, you want to keep things short, very warm and personal and engaging, and it's okay to actually promote your product or service in there. Just make sure that you do it in a way that's tactful and it makes sense with what you're doing. And by email marketing in that way, you can absolutely expand your sales tremendously. If you're not doing it at all, you can get a huge boost out of it. If you're doing it, but you're not doing it effectively, you can also get a really big boost from your sales. And so that is a tip that you could start using right away to start making more sales and more profits in your business. As always, if you have any questions or comments, share them with me at leverigeshow.com. And until next time, make it happen.